it.
Hello out there, and thanks for joining us on Political Platform. Thanks so much. It's a midweek edition, and we are here to give you a wrap-up of all the reports that we have for you. Now, the governors, the second tranche, second batch of the governors are meeting with the president in London. So the part of those schemes, I would say, efforts by the presidency to douse the tension over the situation, the actual situation of the head of the president. So many people have their own opinion about it. We have so many mails on this subject. Some Nigerians saying good, at least. Some the governors will come back and tell us the state of affairs. Some others say it is not necessary. And what we need to do is to get the president to speak to Nigerians through video, and that will just be all instead of the waste of funds and time by the governors. But it's the political power play that is on, and if you listen to, or you were on Twitter monitoring events from the villa yesterday over the now confirmed swearing-in ceremony of the two ministers today, you will understand that there are a lot of things that we say here that are correct. We may not probably have all the proof to say this is exactly what, but by interpretative journalism, we can tell you so many things are up. We'll be explaining to you what went wrong in the villa yesterday with the information as to the swearing in of the ministers. First, it was Premium Times, one of the online, very reputable online platform that reported that there's a confirmation that two ministers will be sworn in today. And prompt to Garba Shehu issued on his tweet that it's fake news and it is not correct. And before you could even digest that, a tweet came from Laulu Akonde that it is true, it is confirmed that the ministers will be sworn in. Femi Adesina spoke with me this morning on phone, and he gave some of the explanations, and we'll be telling you what exactly went wrong. And this morning we'll be advancing our discussions on the future of Nigeria as canvassed by so many, particularly those in the camp of having to restructure. Have you ever asked what happens to the original indigenes of Abuja in the political calculation in Nigeria? Now, let me tell you some of the things, and we have a guest who will tell us more about it. The original inhabitant of Abuja does not have a governor. He cannot even aspire to be a governor. He cannot aspire to be a minister without competing with other Nigerians from across Nigeria. And we can only say that on record, we have not had a minister appointed from the original inhabitants, those who are here, who by their own contribution to national development contributed their ancestral homes and land for the development of Abuja. They were originally promised in 1977 that they will all be moved out of Abuja and resettled in the states adjoining Abuja, such that they can have their own stake, politically that is. But unfortunately, the government was unable to do that. What we have is that if you are an original indigene of Abuja, your land is taken from you. You do not have any say about what the local government and the FCT government, FCT does with your land. At best, you will just plant some trees there and ask for compensation. You do not have an aspiration to become a governor. You don't have a state. So when they are voting for governors in other states, you just go to your farm or you sit down at home. Even the one that could probably have been given to them to say, look, let these ministers come from amongst them, it is not possible. So the only position they can aspire to, and which they also compete with other Nigerians, are local government chairmen, councillors, and then the ministers that are appointed. So they are very, very helpless in this area, and we are bringing their voice onto the restructuring question. We are asking what happens to the FCT indigenes. Are they fairly treated? Are they just here in the midst, staying near the kitchen, and the smell is in their nose and they can't get anything? Okiri Agbonsuremi here. Uju Eje is with me on the platform this morning. Uju, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Hiria.
And Adebayo Bodun is also here. Adebayo Bodun, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ohiria, and a very good morning to you all out there. If you look at the original inhabitants of Abuja, they are nothing but political orphans today. And the whole problem started way back in 1983 when the resettlement office was gutted by fire. It was then located in Bagwalada, and they could not account for the money that was budgeted then by former President Shehu Shagari for the purpose of resettling them in the then Plateau State, the then Kwara State, and then Niger State. So today you don't even have facts and figure on who has been resettled or who ought to be resettled, and how much has been paid out.
And by your body, those who are talking resettled business are grandchildren of those who negotiated.
So you can see a situation. And then when Obasanjo came, his second coming, he said, well, the amount involved in resettling is now a big amount of money. They can no longer go back to
they now do integration.
They can the integration, and the integration is also being mismanaged. So the plight of the Abuja original inhabitants and their classification, as far as I see it, is that they are political orphans today.
Mustafa Mohammed is also writing here. Mustafa, welcome to the program.
Thank you for being in the FCT for so long. I'm almost an indigene too, but my anger is with their political representatives like Philip Aduda and so many Gisalo who
senators,
who were not able to speak on behalf of the indigent. It's quite unfortunate that something which should have been done 30 years ago is the same thing we are talking about again.
Dr. Amici Anakwe is also writing here.
Thank you, Hira. The National Assembly will begin voting on the amendment of the Constitution.
For the Senate today.
The Senate and even the House of Representatives. Some form of devolution of power. Railways, for instance, is being moved from exclusive list to concurrent list.
Local government is being
can now begin to establish railway alongside the federal government. Autonomy for the local councils, abolition of states local government account, financial autonomy for state houses of assembly, so many of it. But of course, politics is also coming in. The issue of Land Use Act is very contentious. Some senators from the north against it, while mostly senators from the south saying there's a need to move it away from the Constitution so that you can amend it by way of acts of parliament.
With this is we can promise you that the constitutional amendment from next week will begin to take a look at the various the clauses that we are taking a look at, and the National Assembly will be voting on. We'll be telling you where the pendulum is swinging, if we can achieve what many people are talking about in the restructuring camp, if we can achieve some of them in the National Assembly through the constitutional amendments. The independent candidature, you can contest election without joining a political party. Some of those propositions will be canvassing all of them and explaining them so that we are all carried along. But let's go to our mailbox because we need to share your own views. Many people wrote to us on the appearance yesterday of the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Commission, Dr. Bubuyo Yemi, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions. The ones we can share, we'll share through political platform at yahoo.com this morning.
Welcome to the mail segment. I am Etenikan Akipu.
And I'm Amaka Okoro. Welcome.
All right, we'll begin with reactions to yesterday's interview with the Corps Marshal of the FRCSC. And this is coming from Christopher Eche in Maitama, Abuja. He says, I heard with bewilderment the road safety boss talk about bearing of arms by the Corps yesterday on your platform. I concede that the act that created Road Safety Corps made provision for bearing of arms, but the reality on ground shows that they don't need arms now or in the future. Road Safety Corps deals with motorists, and it is a known fact that motorists are stubborn people in our climb. So arming the Road Safety Corps against the motorists can be likened to arming lecturers against recalcitrant students. They will litter our land with corpses. What the Road Safety Corps needs are better equipment that will enable them snap the plate numbers of erring and fleeing motorists and prosecute them. The road safety officer that shattered the windscreen in the video that just went viral lends credence to my position. If that guy was armed, he would have finished all the occupants of that vehicle, including his colleague. God bless Nigeria.
And still in that light, Shegun Banso from Kuje in Abuja says, anybody who listened to the interview with the FRSC co-marshal yesterday could feel his disappointment and frustration with the bigmanism and impunity of politically exposed persons on the road. Sadly, due to the weakness of our institutions, the FRSC, like other government agencies, are helpless in the face of brazen infraction of the law. Unfortunately, no country grows in the face of unbridled impunity. Nigeria must build strong and viable institutions if it must overcome its numerous challenges and take its right place amongst community of nations. May God bless Nigeria.
And staying with that, Mike Achimugu in Karmo, Abuja says, my major concern each time I am on the road, however, is the state of chaos and disorderliness with which motorists drive. When I started driving many years ago, the slogan was, driving right is right. This means that once you are driving, you are on the right lane unless you are overtaken. Today, you find trailers and tanker drivers and other heavy-duty vehicles sticking on the left lanes, while every other motorist would really struggle to overtake. How I wish that the Corps Marshal would revive this spirit of orderliness on our roads before he retires from service.
And this is how far we can go on today's mail segment. Do keep sending your contributions. The road to reach us is politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Busted.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for remaining with us, and thanks for all those your mails. We still expect that you continue to interact with us through politicalplatform@yahoo.com. Share with us your views. Let us know what you have for as a matter of opinion. And when you have your own suggestions after the criticisms, it makes the package beautiful. Tell us how you think we can solve the problems. We try to do that here. Even when we criticize, we try to say this is how we think we can solve the problem. Now, going. This morning, the environment minister in the UK, Michael Gove, is going to make an announcement. He's going to present the government's keenly awaited 3 billion, that is about 5.317 billion air pollution plan. And you know what that plan is? The air pollution plan is putting the date 2040 in the day that the British would outlaw new diesel and petrol cars and vans from sale in the United Kingdom. They are joining the French authorities, and they are saying in 2040, how many years away? Dr. Amechi?
Over 20 years.
Just about 22 years.
23.
From now, you will not have diesel and petrol cars. We continue to re-emphasize them because we need our leaders to begin to know that the petrol is going, the diesel is going, and all these ones we are driving on the roads will not have anybody to manufacture them for us if we do not begin to manufacture by ourselves. And even when we manufacture by ourselves, we have to drink our petrol and use it here locally. It is frightening.
Well, here I will have to expand the discussion. The Western countries, they relied on coal, thermal power stations to drive their industrial revolution. They succeeded, and at the time they were exhausting the reserve of their coal, they told everybody that it's dirty energy, that we should move away from it. We should go solar,
and we did.
Go thermal, because we need to be reliant on their technology. We'll buy it from them, activate the economy, and some of us will want to do it. Now, if we want to power our own industry, they will tell us, don't go coal, go solar, go this, is outdated. They forgot how they polluted the environment. They forgot how they depleted the ozone layer. Now, because crude oil is, of course, the means of developing nations.
And in order to solve their own problems of the pollution, they are moving away to electric cars.
And they're saying because they can easily generate electricity, even through nuclear means, they are pushing away energy consumption in the future from fossil fuels to electricity, or in a bid for us to be continuously and continually
dependent
on them. We must manufacture our cars here. We must continue to build coal power plants. Russia is still doing it. South Africa is bulk of it. China is also still doing thermal stations. We must do it, and we must conserve our crude oil and gas, and tell them instead of electricity, let's do gas. It's cleaner, and of course to preserve the huge gas deposits we have in Nigeria, make them more valuable.
Okiria, you know the ice in the Antarctica is melting. The volume of water in the seas and oceans have been rising in the past 15 years. There was no single country in Europe that has not been flooded. That single environmental pollution that the U.S. government, denied because of its own the industries is already ravaging, Asia, Europe, and if the European nations, which are usually tiny islands mostly, do not take this strong position of on environmental pollution, the entire Europe will cease to exist, because there were several bigger islands like Europe in the past that were submerged by the melting glaciers, and Europe might eventually be one of them.
I think that what is probably our problem is that we are not conducting researches. We're not looking into what we have to find out what is best suited for our own environment.
We are continuously dependent.
We are continuously dependent. While they are carrying out researches, finding out better ways of surviving, we are just there. I remember that the last minister before the Buhari administration sacked all the professors who were conducting researches, trying to develop the country scientifically, in the Ministry of Science and Technology. He sacked all of them. It was a big case that was brought to the National Assembly at that time. And you ask for what? Oh, because they were not subjecting themselves to him. And you talk about professors, scientists. We play politics with everything.
If you check, some of them are probably out of Nigeria now, because
exactly.
Because they said there is a market.
Them up, exactly, and that is what we need to make use of. Our intellectuals. We need to go into research in the area of science and tech. We are not doing what we ought to do. And
our guest on the program is not just an indigenous of Abuja. He's an expert in the environment. In fact, currently he's concluding his study of a PhD as a student at the University of Abuja, and specializing in environment. Elderly, you may want to say, but it's not too late to go studying and doing everything. So he has something. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Usman Mustafa, thank you for joining us. Mutala, thank you for joining us on the program. Now, the environment. Let's begin from the environment. We have a lot of flooding in Lagos. In fact, this morning I got a green green picture of some communities submerged in River State, Moku, those areas submerged in communities, the entire communities being submerged by floodings all over. In Auchi, we saw a train of vehicles being moved on the road by flood. A lot of things are also happening here. It does appear that we also contribute to it. The way we handle our environment, all the sachet water that we drink, the water that we drink with all the nylon we exchange, all of them, we are told by scientists, it takes up to 100 years to decay. Now, we throw them all over the place, and there's no treatment. What's wrong with our environment?
Well, let me start by saying our attitude as Nigerians need to be really checked up. What actually happened, if you take a look to Nigeria, is something that can just be managed. But most of us in Nigeria is that most of our refuse will be dumped in the drainage system.
Yes,
and
the
resultant effect is
like what we saw in Lekki.
It will result into flooding, and it will really affect many countries, especially many states, especially Lagos areas and the riverine areas in Nigeria. Our attitude has to be checked, really, in the sense that how do we behave? How do we plan our community? The community has to be planned in order to really make it sustainable. But on this aspect, really, we are left behind. If you go to some developer, automatically, you would not like coming back to Nigeria. Yeah. Because of the attitude they have towards their environment.
Nobody throws just anything off the car.
Because the resultant effect is obvious. It will affect many people in Nigeria. And these are things that must be really checked out.
For those of us who are in the Middle Ages, who are used to throwing things away, just from the car we throw it, particularly in Abuja is not as much as problem because Abuja look clean. But if you go to, it is taken for granted that when you are eating, when you just buy something and they put it along, but when you finish, you just throw it away. There are even in restaurants where you have, like in the developed countries, where you have, where you separate the paper from the bottle, from the plastic and the others. We don't have them here. Is it that we cannot eat with our left hand at our old age? That is the problem?
I don't think. I think the totality of it is lack of the will to implement policies. I have a very strong feeling that the local communities, the villages, during the colonial regime, they were cleaner than today.
Really?
Because the totality of it then was that the colonial masters were forcing, or they have what they call dubagiri in the north. They call it dubagiri in the north. They call it wole in the south.
Yes.
And they were all over the place. To the extent
even
that
the pit toilets were clean.
Even people were afraid sometimes we had to put their soup in their respective homes out of fear that those inspectors, sanitary inspectors with their white clothes may even come and arrest. But the totality of it, and then you just find Nigerians took over governance, and since then the situation is deteriorating. You are talking about Abuja. We are already having problems in Abuja. The Abuja we have today is not the same Abuja we have 30-25 years ago. Luckily for me, I have spent those greater period in Abuja. In those days, before every street was clean.
But now
the
drainages are leaking. Well, let's remain in Abuja.
Let me just add more to what he has said in Abuja. If you take a look before now, if you look at our road media has turned to be a refuse collection point. But with the kind of chairman we have, when we came on board, what we do is that we look at there was need to really change the attitude of our people. So
are they changing?
Really.
Well, let's talk about the Abuja original inhabitants. Now we are talking about Abuja. You are an indigene of Abuja.
100%.
When you say you are an indigene of Abuja, what picture of a Nigerian do you have of yourself?
Well, I see myself as a slave.
It's a slave?
Yeah, quite okay.
Can you explain that?
The problems of FCT, in fact, is very numerous. Sometimes if you are confronted to talk about FCT, you may not even know exactly where to start. Let me start by the Constitution of Nigeria itself. The Constitution of Nigeria does not really have concern for the original habitat of FCT. Because the Constitution stipulates that FCT should be treated as as if it's one of the state. That means that it's not a state.
Yes.
Then
some areas when you treat them as a state.
Treat them as a state, but it means they are not. Then the question we are asking is that if we are not, what are we? What is the status of FCT? We have 36 states, and Abuja, that and means what? So in a situation whereby the constitution of your certain country does not regard on certain people, automatically.
So what are the problems that are arising as a result of this?
There are a lot of problems. For instance, if you take a look to Nigeria itself, is that we politically we are not where to be found. Politically, I cannot be the Senate. I cannot be president of this country. No, any person from FCT can be the president of this country.
Who says?
In what ways?
Because it must come from the state, and we are not a state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even.
Is there anything that says nobody can aspire from Abuja to be president?
Let's even come down.
Yes.
We don't even have minister in FCT.
Now let us deal with the issue of presidency.
I'm coming first.
Yes.
Let me take this one so that we can get it better.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, in the whole 36 states of Nigeria, you have ministers from different states in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's true.
But in the case of FCT, there is none.
That's true, because the constitution actually says ministers shall come from the states.
It's okay.
So Abuja is not in this case regarded as a state.
So if you are not given the opportunity of being a minister, how can you go further to be a president of this country? It means it's not. That is why I used to ask my people, I said, mention any person in Nigeria, any person in FCT, a former minister in FCT. There is none.
None.
But when it comes to anything that can benefit Nigeria,
in fact, the first senator was from Kwara State.
When it comes to anything that can benefit Nigeria, for instance, before you become the president of this country, you must have 25 states, including FCT. 25 states, including FCT. In that regard, FCT is regarded as what?
As a state.
As a state. But when it comes to ministerial appointment,
nobody.
FCT is not a state. Not only that, in FCT, You don't even have right to participate in. You don't even have governor.
I will even tell you, for you to know that FCT is actually regarded as a state in some instances, all the states have 3 senators, but the FCT is asked to just bring 1.
I am coming to that place.
Yeah.
What actually happened is that in all states, they have people, they have their governor that represent them.
Yes.
In the appeals of the government. In FCT, it's none. There is no state of House of Assembly. In fact, we don't even have governor. The right and privilege for you to elect and be voted for as a governor is not in the FCT.
No, now that they are calling for restructuring, what does the FCT, what do the people, indigenous of the FCT want?
And how do we even know how many? Do we even know how many now? Because those of us like Adebayo Boduri and myself who have stayed here now quite a long time, are also entitled to say we are from FCT. When you say they are the original inhabitant, although we will also steal away and go to Edo and he will go to Ekiti. When it comes for him to be governor, he want to go to Ekiti, but you don't have anywhere to go. Now, how many do we even have here, and what do you really want from this current debate?
What we want is that we want the constitution to be amended to really change that status. That said, FCT should be treated as if it's one of the state.
It should be treated as a state. It should be treated
as a state. Let's have our own governors in the state.
You want a governor?
Look, we want a governor. We have FCT House of Assembly. Let's have FCT House of Assembly. Let's have our FCT commissioners, FCT speakers, and whatever. That will give us room to participate more in the government of the country. But in a situation whereby you just contest, you just maybe elect the senator, and apart from that, you cannot do anything again. Automatically, it's uncalled for.
And
the senator is open to all Nigerians, and the senator is only one. Why is it that other states in Nigeria, they have 3 senators, and there is only 1 in Nigeria? There is only 1 in FCT.
Okay.
Why is it that also in some states?
Let me just.
Why is it that in other states of Nigeria they have many reps and it's only 2?
That you have in FCT. Look,
why is it that we don't have governor here in Nigeria?
Thank you so much, Mustafa, who has so many caps here. Is an elite and somebody who is running a PhD in environment in Abuja here, and who is a very bitter indigene of the FCT. I believe that when you come back next time, we'll be able to talk about some other things, the land issues, the education, the backwardness, and all those things. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And that's how we're wrapping it. In another 24 hours, we'll be back. I want to quickly remind you that Ray Power app can be downloaded. Go to Google Play and take it down, and you are able to listen to Ray Power 24/7 anywhere you are. And you can also listen to us on YouTube and YouTube channel AIT Political Platform. And for those in Abuja, you can watch us in the evening by 6 p.m. Okiri Agbonsuremi here. Have a wonderful day.
Busted.